To all the business owners and entrepreneurs, the crazy ones, the believers, the doers, the clever makers, the action takers, and everybody else in between, this podcast was designed for you. Welcome to a Business Growth Mindset podcast. I'm Kristian Livolsi, and I'm incredibly grateful to be here today and share this episode with you. In today's episode, I'm going to share 10 valuable lessons that I learned going from failure to success. Now, it applies to teenagers, students, corporates, tradies, CEOs, and entrepreneurs, and I know that it will help you grow and flourish. This podcast will change your projection. It will make you live an extraordinary life because you have the power to make that decision and you have a choice to grow and flourish. If this is your very first time listening to my content, make sure that you subscribe by clicking the subscribe button and change your notifications alert so that you don't miss future episodes. 10 years ago, I suffered catastrophic failure. I went from turning over $30 million, employing more than 100 employees, and owning a handful of businesses to broke, homeless, and depressed. I had 0 social media followers and my confidence was broken. Piece by piece, I rebuilt myself from the inside out, understanding who I was and what I wanted. I found my purpose and built the outstanding life that I wanted. It wasn't easy, I still failed, but this time I learned from each mistake, capitalized on every failure, and raised my standards. I stepped up and became accountable, and I began to lead, empowering my team, my customers, and more importantly, myself. I built up 15 businesses, exited 10, became the inaugural entrepreneur in residence for a Sandstone University, and helped 66 startups raise a massive $189 million in less than a year. I was awarded the title adjunct professor, became an independent chair of 5 boards, represented several other private company boards, and built a successful advisory business that has helped hundreds of CEOs and business owners grow and flourish. I went to university and graduated with a Master's of Business Administration and was awarded membership to the International Golden Keys Honor Society for academic excellence. I'm semi-retired and now have the privilege to serve others and help them live their best life. I have a beautiful family with Lucy, and we have 2 beautiful children, Leonardo and Lavender. I now write for large global publications such as Entrepreneur and have access to a worldwide audience of 20 million people. I wanted to take the time to share with you what I've learned in the hope that it helps you and adds value to your life. This is my purpose, to change the world one person at a time so that you can thrive and not just survive, so that you can make a difference in this world. And in this podcast, I'm going to share with you 10 of the most valuable lessons that I've learned going from failure to success. So let's start now at 1. Focus on one person who you know that has done what you want and block out the other noise. Now for me, this has been my grandmother. She built an empire from sheer sweat and blood. She was relentless in her focus and compassionate in her approach. She lived a simple life, but amassed great respect and wealth. She had a growth mindset and dedicated herself to being outstanding. Number 2, try to look beyond what successful people are talking about. And here's a secret: focus instead on what they're doing with their time. Now, for example, if someone is telling you that crypto is the best new way to make money online and they're selling a course on it, they're spending their time selling digital courses, not selling crypto, because it's infinite, less risky, and has ridiculous margins and ceilings for scale. So emulate success until you have it with an unstoppable laser-like focus on what successful entrepreneurs do with their time, not what they're saying. Number 3, Understanding the motivation behind why people and companies say and do what they do is incredibly important to make the best data-driven decisions. Making a few big decisions correctly will completely change your life, and the unfortunate truth is that people often have selfish incentives for doing and saying things. If you understand why people are saying and doing things, then you'll be capable of making more rational, logical decisions and drastically increase the likelihood of those decisions being correct. Number 4, I want you to recognize shiny object syndrome as a toxic addiction and learn to identify and silence it. Focus makes millionaires, and focus is twofold. You have to focus on what you should do and also focus on what you should not do. Then stay accountable to yourself on your priorities. Number 5, habits are what differentiates successful people. What is the difference between a billionaire and a hopeless man in most cases? Habits. Habits start with one day, so only focus on today. Only make small changes one at a time. It takes time, so stick with it. Small changes add up over time. Number 6 is understand feedback cycles, belief, action, results, and reaffirm beliefs, because this equals invincible feedback cycle. If I could go back in time and tell myself before I began, I would say start immediately. There's always a million reasons not to. And then once you do start, never stop. You made it because no matter what anyone else said to you, you ignored it. Number 7, think for yourself. Now, I built my businesses my way. I went against the grain. Build a virtual empire and hire locally and internationally. Without your team and a thriving culture that you create, you're nothing. So start a catchphrase like, and live it every day. Mine is #live with purpose. Number 8, understand and relentlessly pursue the low-hanging fruit. Now, you can spend your time in a million different ways, some of which add more automation to your life and some of which add less. You can focus on scaling paid traffic, or you can hire more staff. Now, often both produce the same results. More money, but one requires infinitely less time and energy for the same additional gain. Now, when you decide what to do or what to focus your time on, always choose what furthers automation. If you're like me, you don't need to be a billionaire. Instead, do what you love and be happy and grateful for what you have and create time and freedom, which is the most important thing of all. Now, number 9, search for your niche. Understand what most people need and what is most profitable for you to provide. Now, attention is a currency, and a powerful one. That is why building a personal brand and adding real value and caring about your followers is the most valuable thing that you can do. Number 10, the knowledge economy is the next big thing. And anyone who tells you differently is trying to sell you something. It's $100 billion business and growing. I've never found something that can compete with building a following and selling a digital product like the knowledge economy. Now, you can press a button and $100,000 magically appears in your bank account. It's pretty sweet. And you can cross-promote, affiliate, scale, so on and so forth. The truth is, time passes whether you get better at buying or selling physical real estate, or you get better at selling a digital course or buying or selling real estate. Still, the thing is that they're wildly different business models with different capital outlays, different levels of manual work, human capital, and infinitely different risk models. There's no other business model I've seen or come across where you can build a 10 million plus business in a very short period of time. And so for my final and most essential points, never compare yourself to anyone. It's the fastest way to unhappiness at any level. I know people who make 10 million a year who are depressed because their friends make 20 million a year. Now, how bloody crazy is that? Then I know people who only focus on comparing where they are at in their own progress. People who made 10,000 last year and 100,000 this year, and they are happier than they've ever been. Imperfect action trumps perfect inaction every time. Now, everybody dies with nothing when it comes to money. When I was younger, okay, much younger, I thought that people who said money doesn't buy happiness were just poor. Still, now I understand it. I know a lot of unhappy people who have a lot of money, and the main reason is comparison and the poisonous nature of some social media platforms like Instagram and Facebook. And I realized that once you have enough money to fill your basic needs, money and achievement doesn't make you happier. The secret is fulfillment. Fulfillment makes you happier. Now, happiness is the point of life, and it takes work to be happy. And to make progress daily is understanding and buying into that idea that is the most important thing that I could teach you. Now, understand this. This is a small world, and karma is very real. Hold a high moral compass regardless of your competitors, and treat the metaphorical janitor the same as you would the metaphorical CEO, because you never know who's coming up next. Now, irrespective of all that, you should always treat people with respect. Most of us are just trying to make it through this chaotic world. You have the daily choice of whether or not you want to add positivity to the world, and you should try to always add value to the lives of others, because life is a gift. That gift can be taken away in an instant with disease or tragedy, and you don't realize that yours and your family's health is the only thing that truly matters until you don't have it. So spread the love wherever you can. And finally, continuous incremental action is critical. Albert Einstein said, compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it. It's so critical to understand the idea of compound interest accumulation. As a CEO, business owner, and entrepreneur, you are always busy doing things such as making content, building, creating, and adding value. It can feel like nothing is moving the needle. However, think about it as a journey. When you're starting to push, there is rust and there is creaking, and you can barely move it, if at all, that is. Now, you have to dig your feet in and push as hard as you can to get the merry-go-round going. But once it starts to spin, it flies around effortlessly. Now, business is precisely this. In the beginning, you essentially are accumulating compound interest for what feels like no return. But remember, success is not linear, it's exponential. Famous CEOs, business owners, and entrepreneurs that you end up hearing about are the ones who stick around long enough to reach the point of exponential return of the compound interest that they accumulate through their daily incremental actions. Remember, those of you who are most consistent will be the ones people talk about the most. The rest of you who give up will probably give up an inch from reaching the point of exponential return, which is a terrifying thought. If I had given up 10 years ago when I lost it all, almost losing myself, I wouldn't be here today helping you and others. I wouldn't have a voice reaching millions of people every day, inspiring future generations and exciting CEOs, business owners, and entrepreneurs. Had I given up a few years ago when the media attacked me and tried to discredit me, I wouldn't have written an Amazon bestseller that has sold thousands of copies. I wouldn't be writing for large global publications such as Entrepreneur, and I wouldn't be living my best life doing what I love for those that love what I do. So stick with it, no matter where you're at, with incredible, invincible confidence, certainty, and energy, and never let anyone or anything slow you down. So here's my thing. Why wait? Why not just decide to live your best life and be outstanding? Raise your standards and step up. Today is your day. It's your life. It's your legacy, and you can build it right now. All you need to do is decide to live in a peak state. You can achieve and be fulfilled and live with passion and purpose. So this is your time to decide. Join me in living a peak state. If you don't know how, join me on LinkedIn, where I share videos almost every day, and immerse yourself and raise your standards. Step up and make your move right now. I have truly loved hanging out with you today and providing you with insight into the 10 valuable lessons that I learned going from failure to success and living my best life. I hope that you found the information encouraging and that you can use it in your quest to show up, stand up, raise your standards, and step up in life. If you loved today's episode, please take a minute to rate it and provide a review. While you're there, why not share this episode, tag me on your social media platforms, and give the gift of knowledge to others. Please take care, be vulnerable and courageous, and make a move. Until next week, live with purpose. Are you ready to start taking action on your business? Would you like to spend more time with your family? Then call 1300-643-229 and start building momentum right now. I know you're busy. In fact, you are so busy that you don't have time to work on your business or yourself. Often tossing and turning at night, worrying about the how-tos and the cash flow. How on earth can you possibly get off the hamster wheel so that you can take a helicopter view to see where you'll be in 90 days, 1 year, or 3 years from now? In this program, I will take you from sleepless nights to blissful sleep. You'll have more time with your family and you will have the clarity and direction so you can grow and flourish. Call 1300-643-229 now and start building momentum.